All right, morning, welcome. So change, I think was the topic, Ed, you proposed for this morning. So we're talking about change. What is change? Do we want to change? Can we change? Should we change? Love it or hate it? Yeah, reject it or embrace it. I think those are pretty much our choices. And when it comes to change, like I said yesterday, one of my favorite quotes I've used more than once in this forum is one that I got from my one business partner, and he loves to say nothing keeps on changing, but that's not really true, is it? Some people want to stay in the status quo, but unfortunately, I think that's a really bad space to be in. Comfort zones can be very uncomfortable. Just maybe you don't know how comfortable it can be if you stretch yourself. So change, I think that's what it's all about this morning. So Ed, seeing that you didn't know what the topic was, but you proposed it, we'll just have to change and switch over to you straight away and see if you can switch gear this morning.
Yeah, thanks, Ivan. Great record, but I thought perhaps the one you might play was the one by Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. So, yeah, because that's all about change. Start with a man in the mirror. The French have a saying, and I apologize to the French for my pronunciation, plus qu'un change, plus c'est la même chose. The more things change, the more they stay the same. And that struck me as being really relevant, actually, because people are people. All throughout history, people have had greed, they've had lust, they've had revenge, and they make the same mistakes. I was on a call yesterday talking about marketing. I know nothing about marketing, but I was talking. And it struck me that way back when I used to sell ice creams 46 years ago, Walls made the mistake of running an advertising campaign without having ramped up their production of an ice cream called the Cornetto. And so everyone wanted to buy it, but no one could because they hadn't made enough. And then just recently, Brewdog, which is a brewer, which also brews in the States, actually. They're a carbon negative company. That's why I buy their beer. They offered every single person in the UK free 4 cans of lager, free. And everyone piled in and bought them, but they hadn't made enough. So everyone wanted to buy them and they couldn't ship them, and everyone got annoyed with them. Exactly the same as I got annoyed with the makers of Cornetto 46 years previously. We don't learn. And then it might not have got to South Africa yet, but there's a fascinating thing going on in Scotland between the current First Minister and the previous First Minister. It's a lady called Nicola Sturgeon is the current First Minister. And she's a very good politician. And Alex Salmond was her sort of mentor, and she's his protege. Well, they've had a very public falling out. There's an inquiry going on at the moment. There's all sorts of stuff going on, and it's really quite a mess. And it suddenly struck me that that's exactly what was going on in, say, Shakespeare's Julius Caesar or Antony and Cleopatra. So nothing's changed. We're still doing the same stuff. And then, just to be poetic, there's a nice poem by called Locksley Hall by Alfred Lord Tennyson, a very famous British poet. And he says, in spring, a young man's fancy lightly turns to thoughts of love. And still today, in spring, a young man fancy turns to thoughts of love. So nothing changes because people don't change. We do exactly the same thing. So all the stuff around us might change. We might have Bitcoin rather than a pound note. We might have the internet rather than the telephone, or the jungle drums, or sending pigeon messages. But the basic stuff, we don't change. So that's me.
Thanks, Ed. Yeah, so nothing keeps on changing. Yeah, that's interesting. So we have to go to the PhD in the group. I'm sorry, Trevor, that's not you. So yeah, we we have to ask Laura. Yeah, what's change all about? Can we change? Do we change? Is it possible to change us?
I don't think it's possible to remain the same. From the moment we're born, we're living to die. Literally. That's the end point. As morbid as it sounds, I was born and conceived in order to evolve and grow. And then at a certain point, I'm not even stagnant. I probably might hit a capstone. And then the change is that the physicality of our essence evolves and it starts to decline, only to the extent that it allows for a wisdom to grow. Meaning that I can have knowledge, I can have education, I could have schooling, which is the building. I can have an education, which is information, the process of the formal process of learning dictated by another. I can have knowledge, which is information provided to me, and then wisdom, which is experiential based on not age, experience. So as I said yesterday, it's not this two shall remain the same. And anytime I hear, oh, it's too hard, I can't learn how to use a computer. You learn to drive, that's tough. And I find this topic so interesting. It's malleable. It's a struggle that I want to feel comfortable. And at the same time, do y'all know what Jeopardy is? I can't see. Do you know the game show Jeopardy, Alex Trebek? I'm a Jeopardy junkie, lifetime learner. Rest in peace, Alex. I don't want to stay the same. I want to keep growing. Ease and flow, grow and glow. So I choose not to have in my circle those who are resistant to change. And I might not like who or how I'm changing. It doesn't matter. Because right now, it's gone. Right now, it's gone. Right now, it's gone. So right now, in this moment, I am the youngest I'll ever be. And the oldest that I ever was. I'm the youngest that I'll ever be and the oldest that I ever was. And with evolution, that's how we're here. I mean, think about the moment that we're conceived, it starts, it grows, it peaks, and it still grows. And no matter what, what's our legacy? What's our dash? Just because we change shape and form doesn't mean we don't have an imprint on what we left and the future, which that's my history. In the United States, this is Women's History Month. And to celebrate that doesn't mean that I don't celebrate men. I bring them with me if they come along. And to see men change, to see people change, we're in a state of flux. We are in the state of change. There's nothing we can do. We can't. And to deny that it's happening, to be forced to stay stagnant, that's the struggle. That's the fact that I hear and see people, they don't want to put a mask on. They're tired of being stuck. They're tired of being stuck. They want to change. They want to get back to the way it was. Well, it's never going to be that way because that was the past. So live and learn, grow and glow. Suck it up. Put your big girl panties on, as my mom would say.
Okay, so Trevor, have you got them handy? Can you pull them on? Yeah, I think that's absolutely. So and that's one of the real challenges. As Ed was saying, we don't seem to learn from our mistakes, but I agree 100% with you, Laura. You know, there is no constant. There is no constant. You know, you're either going backwards or you're going forwards, and you've got to make those choices. You know, and that's what it's all about. And the real question is, for me, is, and maybe it's a topic for another discussion, is why don't we learn? You know, and that's a whole different thought. We have to make our own mistakes in some cases, I suppose, to really learn. And if we allow ourselves to learn from our mistakes, those are the best learning experiences we can ever get. But you've got to choose to do that, don't you? So, Trevor?
Yeah, well, listen, I didn't hear a thing that Laura said because I was just listening to her line yesterday that she asked us to get into on Alanis Morissette, and in there she said, "You are the sexiest man I ever know," something to that effect. So I can't even think. No, but listen, 100%. If you're not growing, you're dying. It's as simple as that. I think that's exactly what Laura is actually saying. I think there is this challenge that we are two sides of the same coin all the time. I think that we want to be independent, and we want to believe that we're absolute free thinkers, and that we do our own things. But as you're growing up, I remember the days of the hippies and blue jeans and denims and even corduroys, and we thought that we were being independent by having our own denim jeans, but they matched everyone else in our clique at our age groups. And we grew our hair to be absolutely independent, but millions of other teenagers were growing their hair to do exactly the same. Apart from Ivan, I don't think he ever had hair in those days. And it's just crazy. The flip side of being independent is that we also want to conform to society. What is holding you back from actually recognizing the changes that have come? I think 2020 was the year of the most magnificent change to ever hit this planet, making the 2020s decade the most exciting decade that people can actually live through. And I would certainly hope that we can grow into this all the time, and you've got to be excited about it. There, I made this note of Bitcoin. You know, what is this Bitcoin thing doing? Here I'm annoyed that I can't get any Bitcoin at $1 anymore, which is how people were grabbing it just what, 5-10 years ago. And look what it's doing at the moment. At the beginning of the year, I said, man, this COVID-19 has really changed the world. Working from home, we're all going to be doing that in a big way, doing these sort of things. But what is Bitcoin doing in the background? I think it has exposed the weakness of governments, and that side of the coin where we want to conform to what our governments do. And there's the independent, the anarchist, the person that doesn't want to stand in the line and conform to those people that tell us to conform. We want to go and do our own things. We want to go and get our techies and go and run in the Kalahari. How stupid is that? But yet we want to do these things. And so I'm thinking this Bitcoin, together with the internet, together with the smartphone, they are catalysts for the most incredible change to happen on our planet. And on those fundamentals, Ed is going to have to, he's going to actually have to build his process for changing climate in the world over the next 30 years with guys like Bill Gates who are suddenly realizing or have gone in and done the research. And even if you don't like who Bill Gates is, what he's about and how he's made his money, you better go and have a look at that research and see how you can change climate in the world, because that's what Ed wants to do. He wants to change the world in the way that people eat burgers, stop cows farting, and what else, Ed? Change is exciting, for goodness sake.
Yeah, Ed, you have the right of response. Yeah.
The only reason Bill Gates is having good environmental ideas, and it's a pity that Jasper's not here, is because I've had the vaccine and he's now got that chip in my brain and he's nicking my ideas.
Yes, Laura.
I have a vaccine too, and I joined a research study, so not just so I could have the vaccine, also for my son, because things are going to change. That's a whole nother topic. 3 weeks ago, I got a shot, and it's a double-blind research study that's actually 87% more effective towards anything else from the UK strain. That's what I was told. Where's it at? Down here. Today, and I felt nothing. I don't know if I got the placebo or the vaccine, and neither do the researchers. So they can't interact with me as researcher bias. Today, I got a shot, and I'm feeling fatigued. I have a headache. I'm feeling nauseous. And I thought, well, change is, if I were to have to go through this for 6, 9, 12 months, a year, for the rest of my life, I cannot imagine those individuals who have to cope with this. And I was so willing to stand on the side so that those who are older than me, I don't care if someone says, well, they're older, they don't have as many years to live. Who am I to put a quality on the number of years, the quantity? It's not about the quantity of years, it's the quality of. Obviously, I feel very strong about this, that those who choose not to change by refusing to wear a mask because they feel as if their personal choice is implicated. How egomaniacal is that regarding narcissism, that they cannot give up for themselves to give to others, because it's not about me wearing a mask, it's about allowing others to live their lives. It's probably went off on a tangent there. Regarding what was said about from a global or a systemic perspective, or maybe a national, I remember the exact moment, who I was with, what I was saying, what I was doing, when I made a decision to stop denigrating others because I didn't feel right about myself. Instead of saying, you blah, 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 MNFer, you are an idiot, you're stupid, I can't believe why you would do this. Those words were not, and it's a conflict in relationship, those words were not true. I wanted my way. I was not happy. I was upset because I couldn't get my way. Do I want to be right? Do I want to be happy? Well, I'd rather be happy, and just because I say those words doesn't mean I'm right. So I remember inside, if I am resisting change and I feel that there's no ease and flow, that if I am not living in alignment with, I said in the chat, refusing to stand when someone else is forced to kneel. And even more than that, if I'm trying to force someone to kneel, how willing am I to change me to better them? That's way esoteric and that's way rhetorical. This topic has actually come to fruition today, so much so that I've had to segregate myself from individuals who are so toxic that I can't do it. It's easier for me to say what's not okay than what's okay. Boundaries. That's change, because people don't like that. Oh, I'm used to teaching you, I'm used to treating you like this, and now you're changing. This is not okay.
But now, consider that you might be in an environment, maybe China, maybe Syria, maybe where the autocrats are in total control of your life, and you have these independent thoughts, but following through on your independent thoughts can have you look at this guy who was taken out in Saudi Arabia, Khashoggi, who was writing about the dangers and what was going on in Saudi Arabia, and then he was completely annihilated. So, I mean, there's to be an independent, to be an anarchist, thinking differently comes with risks. And we have to recognize that in those people who actually fear. I mean, you go back to the Second World War and you go back to the Jewish population. Imagine being a Jew in Germany, in Europe, in the Second World War. So you have to put yourself in the shoes of others. And you've also got to understand why people actually band together in the hope of overcoming just those things that are so heavily against them. I would never have survived in a country like North Korea, China 30, 40 years ago. I don't know what it's like today. So, you know, there, but for the grace of God, go we, I suppose. And we've got to apply whatever we want to apply to our lives and try and meander through what society is basically forcing us to actually do. Some of us get it right. Some of us get it wrong. I get it mostly wrong because people want to smack me around the ears most of my lifetime.
I think it's interesting, you know, and I think the real challenge is the perspective from which you're looking at things. So, you know, if you're looking at it from a macro perspective, you know, I 100% agree. You know, you're forced within certain paths and certain boundaries, and there's a limit to how much you can tackle some of those things without getting your head taken off. You know, but by the same token, all change starts with an individual. Yeah, someone's got to start, and someone's got to push the button, and someone's got to, you know, wake up the people around them to say there is another possibility, there is another reality that we can actually pursue. You know, we can go after something different simply by changing the way we're thinking right now, simply by changing the way we're looking at things right now. And you know, that brings me back to one of my other favorite quotes, which is the Wayne Dyer quote, which says, you know, if you want the things you look at to change, then you need to change the way you look at things. And you know, that's yeah, I think that's what it's really, for me, that's what it comes down to. You know, it's great to talk about you know, the challenges and the restrictions that the macro scale gives us, but at the end of the day, it's back down to you. You're the only person that can change you. And you're the only person that can take that decision to change. You know, people can try and enforce it, as Laura was saying, you know, earlier. You know, you can try and implement your desires and your philosophies and your thinking onto others, but at the end of the day, if they don't take the decision to you know, internalize what you're giving them, you might as well be talking to a blank wall. So, yeah, and that's. You know, that's really what we're about here, is you know, encouraging people to think for themselves, not to tell them what to think, but to actually encourage them to think and give them the environment and the exposure, you know, to think differently and be exposed to different thoughts and then choose. So really, it's all about the choice at the end of the day, isn't it? So where does that put us? Yes, Laura.
I don't know the process. I don't know what's supposed to happen. Like, do we ask to speak, or like, because I'm totally digging this right now. I'm like, I'm with men from other countries, and I'm learning so much, and I'm so, oh my gosh, oh God, can I yes, can I bring up something? Am I allowed to?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so what's
Laura, wait, one thing, you know, we've got rules in this forum, okay, and then the first rule is there are no rules.
I love you. I was almost excommunicated from a group that I paid to be participant in because I made too many comments in the chat room. That I had my video off and my mute. I was on mute and I didn't have my video on, and I'm all like, yeah, and I made too many chats in the chat, and I was propping up people and complimenting them, and I didn't shit on anybody. Now I don't give advice because that's the A word, and I was told that I needed to make more questions, and I could chat. So that said, I love that comment. Meat is murder. Okay, so we talk about murder, right? This is just this is conceptual. So what is murder? So, okay, an individual goes off to war and they're told they need to kill in order to defend whatever it is that they're told that is righteous, etc. I'm not going there. Likewise, I mean, essentially, what is murder? It's to take life rather than give life. So then a person walks on the tube, has got a machete, takes it out. Is that murder? Takes the life? Takes the life. The connotation, a woman has an abortion, whether or not her life is in danger to carry the child or not. Those in the States, I don't know about other countries, it's sometimes an issue. What's murder? Dr. Kevorkian, euthanasia. A person wants to end their life and asks for the help. And I'm not saying any of these are right or wrong, and please don't mistake me. Who's to say what is murder? It's all in the eyes of the person who their values are, their experiences. And how interesting is it that whatever country, like say Italy, for example, or Ireland, whatever country that person is born in, their religion is right. I mean, no disrespect. I'm a recovering Roman Catholic. I mean, no disrespect. Who's to say what is right or wrong? Because whatever you believe, you're right.
I'm a recovering accountant, so but it's interesting when you talk about murder, Laura. There was a child in London that died from an asthma attack. And there was asthma attack, asthma. And they had an inquest, and the inquest concluded that the asthma attack was caused by high levels of air pollution caused by traffic. So when we drive, are we committing murder? So it's a big subject, and we've come to the top of the hour. So I think we better sort of accede to the boss Ivan and decide what we're talking about tomorrow. But I think that whole concept of murder is very interesting.
Okay, well, maybe we must pick it up on the morrow.
I started something. I started something I should have started.
We love people starting things in this place. So yeah, we start fires, we throw hand grenades at them, we talk about murder. It doesn't really matter. As I said, we have two rules actually. So yeah, the first rule is there are no rules, and the second rule is if you think they are, refer to rule 1. So so there are no rules. So murder, interesting topic. Yeah. So yeah, maybe a bunch of crows will get together tomorrow. If you know what the group, what is the word? Ed, you're the
murder of crows. It's the collective noun.
Murder of crows. Yeah, it's it's a collective noun. That was the phrase I was looking for. So the collective noun for crows is a murder. So yeah, so we'll try not to be crows tomorrow, but I'm sure we'll cackle and caw and have some interesting discussions. So have a great day.
What have you done with the others, Ivan?
Happy birthday.
I think it's for his wife.
Oh.
No, Laura, I got this for you. I'm going to fax him through. Just give me your fax and I'll fax him through. There's some chocolates.
It's true. I'll take. I don't have a fax machine. I can't afford it.
Do people still have fax machines, Trevor?
Sorry? Stuff. The things I own, the more they own me.
No, they're my neighbors. So she's away and asked me to collect them for her. So what can we do? All right.
All right. So
I
I don't know
trust-
if you caught that.
What?
We're murdering topics tomorrow.
All right. What's that? False meat beef patties or what?
Just what is murder?
Right. It could be, you know, it's growing steaks from stem cells. I don't know, you know, I mean, it could be anything. So we'll have to.
What
Let's
is
just-
murder?
What is murder? Yeah, what is murder? Okay, so all right, well, try and stay alive until tomorrow morning, and
I've got some crows above the here
Yeah.
in our trees. I'll bring them in for the meeting tomorrow.
put some clothes. Okay, and just to prove one thing quickly, for Laura's sake, I think the others have seen this. I did have hair once.
Oh, hello. Are you doing
Which who's got the hair? The guy changing gears.
Yeah.
It's always good to
Yeah.
leave on a high note, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, we got to keep these things going up and up, you know. All right. Have a great day further. Laura, get some rest. Get over your vaccine, and we'll see.
Thank you, gentlemen.
See you
Thank
you.
tomorrow.
So
All
much.
right.
Bye-bye.
Cheers now.